Well, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is to y'all. This is Sunday Refinery number 30, and we're about to start with something completely unplanned this time. You know, usually when I start these Riff Refinery episodes, I have an idea in mind. I have a riff kind of written, or maybe an outline of a riff, or just something bouncing around in my head. And this week I thought I had that. I actually had even sent a somewhat finished riff to a couple friends of mine. Kyle, shout out Rainquill Riffs on here if he's on right now. I will link him down in the description below because he writes some insane riffs and you really need to watch his newest one from this previous Wednesday. It's just honestly ridiculous using the same amp sim that we're about to be using too. Nonetheless, anyways, I sent him that riff and I was stoked on it, but now I'm not for whatever reason. And so today we're gonna write completely from scratch, start something completely new. I've got my coffee, I've got a fresh guitar pick. You know that we're already ready to go and we can get this done. So what am I feeling though? What's the vibe? It's deathcore. You already know it's deathcore, okay? This whole week I've been listening to a really old album called Bloodlust from Through the Eyes of the Dead. And I know a lot of you are surprised that I've been writing and recording and screaming and all of that good stuff with deathcore coming out of me lately. But that's what I grew up with, you know? I grew up with Through the Eyes of the Dead, Black Dahlia Murder, As Blood Runs Black, Sea of Treachery. There's a lot of really cool older deathcore bands and death metal bands that kind of cross over into that, obviously. Black Dahlia Murder is more death metal. We're not going to get into a subgenre discussion here, though, because I'll probably lose that discussion. But since I've been jamming Through the Eyes of the Dead all week, I figured I just needed to grab a guitar and drop C. That's why we're rocking the GOC Guitars Illumina with my Aurora Tone Earth Crushers inside of it, because this guitar just never lets me down. And yes, it's not GOC's new bridge or anything like that. I don't care. This guitar is just the guitar for me, and it always will be. This is my daily driver, man. So let's go ahead and jump into Logic and check out the amp that I'm using. So what we're looking at today is the Thall Amp from Audio. And Audio was kind enough to send this over so that I could make some videos for you all. They did not pay me, and actually I'm the one that asked them to send it to me. It's not even the other way around. So this is not a sponsored video, but they did send me this free of charge. So feel free to take everything I say with a grain of salt, but go ahead and make your judgment with your ears instead, because this amp sim sounds sick and it's very simple. That's what I really am liking about it. There's not a million tabs with a million different things that you can do. There are a couple things that I wish it could do. We'll talk about those later. But as it is, I barely had to do anything to dial this in. We have a low cut and a high cut. We brought the drive down, brought the presence down a little bit, and then added a little bit of highs back. Turned on the gate, brought up the chug, and this is just what we got so far. So ridiculously brutal. I have no clue what like hardware amps this might be based on. It sounds like a combination of other amps, honestly. It's got the fizziness, like the hairiness of a rectifier to my ears, or even a PV 5150. I think they kind of influencing this amp a little bit, but it sounds good, man. So that is the tonal inspiration that we're working with today. You'll see the GOC bass behind me. I don't have that set up in drop C right now. That's actually set up in drop A, and I'm not going to intonate it for drop C, so we will be using the Dingwall today. I guess it's a good thing I didn't sell it yet. But let's go ahead and set a tempo here and start messing around. I have no drum tracks. We're going to have to figure out what drums we want to use. I think a good tempo to start at is probably like 160 to 170. I need some coffee first though. Shout out to my lovely wife for getting me this really dope cup. She's not going to watch this video, so she won't see that, but dude, that just sounds sick. Okay, so I want to start with something trem related, and by trem I mean trem picking. And so, you know, older deathcore and death metal, really big fans of the all of that good stuff, right? All right, let's see if this tempo is going to be fast enough for that. Okay, that, honestly, I'm probably ripping off 3 different bands with that. That's a little bit too slow. Let's go up to like 180, and let's go ahead and track that and see what we got. What are we thinking there? Blast beat for that? Let me know down in the comments. Do you think I'm going to choose a blast beat? I'm going to choose a blast beat most likely, but what other beat would sound good with that kind of trem picking? Almost had something there. Okay, that's a little gut of a riff there. We need drums though. I can't do that without something. So should we use Easy Drummer? You know, let's just use Crim drums. I love using Crim drums. All right, we're gonna use Loudstack Metal MIDI grooves because I'm not gonna program an entire blast beat right now. I just need to find one that's ready to go. So let's go ahead and go into death metal and let's do a syncopated blast beat and see how that sounds. Okay, that could sound good. We need to retrack the guitars though, so let's go ahead and properly track these guitars. Ooh, that changed the riff entirely actually, so we're going. I like that though. Okay, let's just mess around and see how this works. Something like that. It's not fitting though. Maybe we don't do trem. Maybe we do like a gallop. And that I'll need to program my own drums for because I don't know if I have any beats that have that gallop to it. Okay, so it turns out I did have a loop that we could use for that. So let's go ahead and try and record to this. Okay, it just needs to be a little bit more clean. I need to clean that up a little bit. Okay, that could work. We're probably gonna have to harmonize that, huh? Not too hard to harmonize, thankfully. Okay, that's sloppy. Don't come at me for that one, it's sloppy, but it sounds cool, man. We need something obviously to come before and after that though. I don't feel like that's a good intro to a riff, but what am I feeling? Okay, Through the Eyes of the Dead likes to do stuff like that. So does Black Dahlia Murder. Basically everybody likes to do it, but really evil sounding octave stuff. Let's go ahead and record that to a click. What are we thinking here? That sounds nice and evil. That's in the same, it's literally the same riff, just not trem picked. But we can double track that now and have it be nice and evil sounding. And we have a cool effect on the Thall Amp we might turn on later during the mixing process where it adds in an octave under to make it just sound stupid. In fact, let's just add it in right now and see what it sounds like on just the single track. So let's take a listen. All right, so imagine that, but split across two different tracks. So let's go ahead and just double track it first, and then we'll see how that sounds. We've got that. Now let's go ahead and duplicate this twice and name them octave left, octave right, and let's bring these back on top of there, and we'll bring them down. Okay, now what I think is we need drums to come in with that same riff again. So we'll copy them over. I want something with toms. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything in here. That's a good blast beat though. Gonna have to keep that one. Let's move this one over so that we can keep it, because that sounds great. Let's try that. Let's do the blast beat and we will do some trem picking here too. So let's see how it sounds. That could work. I know it's hard to hear there, so let's go ahead and double track it so it's louder. I think it's because of the octave guitars. Let's just move them over to here. Yeah, we'll have to leave it there. The octave guitars just kind of get lost there. I'll have to do that in the mix and just kind of brighten things up a little bit, or do a different octave. Maybe I do an octave up actually, and it might sound better. Maybe I want like a slide into that or something. Okay, we will do that. We will do a slide because that sounded kind of cool. Okay, so now I have ideas, man. The ideas are flowing. Now the ideas are flowing. I don't even know if I like the rest of that. So we need a different type of beat here. We need a just as blood runs black style. Maybe that works. No, it's not fast enough. All right, so the metalcore reverse upbeat might be it, but what's this one? Nope, that's what comes next. Okay, I know what we're doing. We've got this on lock, man. I'm messing everything up over here though. We got to move things out of the way some more. That's how I work. I just make a mess with these drum loops and everything. Okay, let's go ahead and figure this out. Oh man, what am I thinking here? I've got the idea in my head, and I think it needs to be an open string, honestly. I think it needs to be open string, and then it fades into that other like bit. All right, I'm gonna put these out of sight, out of mind right now and mute them because my idea requires me to come out of this riff here. Let's do this. Gotta do it again, gotta double track it. Now, what I'm thinking here is that we come into this riff and it's what has that groovy little deathcore beat that I was thinking of. But I kind of want like a lo-fi version of it playing underneath this one. So let's go ahead and play along with this and let's turn on the Thall Amp's lo-fi feature, which is pretty sick. Let's figure it out. The lo-fi feature is pretty sick though, right? It's pretty sick. Okay, let's go ahead and record to it. Ooh, I already thought of something better. We gotta move all of this because it's gonna sound good and I wanna not forget these. But the way it's gonna go, this is turning into straight metalcore and I'm fine with it. It's gonna go 058, not 057, but 058. Okay, let's figure this out, so. Something like that. Okay, that's going to be playing with the radio effect, and we're going to then record the left and right guitars under it. Okay, we'll go with that for now. That might change later. Might be too busy for the rhythms. Now we go into the good old two-step beat. And we go into it. Now we're just jamming with these drums. This is gonna sound so cool. Okay. Okay, now we need a straight up double bass. So where do we have one of those in here? I think that's what I'm thinking of right now. And I think it can honestly be copied and pasted. Let's see how it sounds. And obviously for the final thing we would harmonize that, but I'm thinking now this is where this might be able to come in. Let's see. What are we thinking, fam? Does that fit? Does that fit or not? I think it fits. It just needs a different like fill or something to go in there. That's the beauty of like deathcore from the 2000s era too, is it can be super random and the vocals are what will tie it all together. We might be doing vocals today. I haven't decided yet. Okay, so it'll work. We just need to change the guitars in this part. We can't have them be the same. It needs to end differently. So let's go ahead and end it differently. So I think that works. We can use the same exact riff as the lead in to that one. Let's go ahead and delete all of that and record that. So now I think we should harmonize that. Dude, my hand hurts from trem picking. I'm not gonna figure out the harmonies for that right now. This is such a random riff soup. Honestly, the intro might need to go. I think that it needs to go. It can all be saved for another time and we can move all of this. So I think this sounds better as just this bit. It's very random, it's very riff soup, I know, but I don't care, this is fun. There's just like, the transition is too jarring. We need another version of this riff here. Needs to up in intensity here too, so. All right, yes, we're not humanizing anything right now. We're going to just keep copying and pasting to make this work. And then we need some rides. All right, those rides are ridiculous. I didn't realize I was at 127 velocity there. Everything's at 127. But let's see how all of that works to go for the rest of this. We're not gonna do any drum fills on there right now. We just need to get some guitar written for this and have it work to go into that next piece. I feel like this with a really good fill going into the next like trem picking section will sound sick. But let's go ahead and see if we can play along. Maybe that'll work. We need a good fill. Go ahead and delete all of that. Okay, that could do it. Or maybe. Okay, that's the fill. I think that's the one. All right, I think that's the riff. I've been recording for all too long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off my camera right now. I'm going to record bass and hopefully some vocals. You'll find out in a little bit if I do the vocals or not. I don't have a ton of time, but I am feeling vocals on this. But yeah, let me get some bass down. Let me get some vocals hopefully down. And you're going to watch the playthrough of the song right about now. All right, y'all. This is for all of my 2000s deathcore fans. Where you at? All right, well, I don't know about all of you, but that one was a really, really fun one. That is, I don't know, is it still deathcore? Is that more metalcore than deathcore? I feel like it's more metalcore because of that two-step part. But you know, deathcore incorporates a lot of metalcore in it and vice versa. I think the vocals are very much deathcore still. And if I had thrown some singing or maybe a different type of breakdown or something, maybe then it would have been more metalcore. I don't know. As it is, I'm pretty stoked on this one. This might be added to the Deathcore EP that's going to be coming out under an unannounced band name, which is going to come very, very soon. I have a homie drawing up a logo for us. And yeah, I'm pretty stoked about that. What did y'all think about this though? That's Sunday Riff Refinery number 30. I don't have a name for this song, so feel free to name it if you can even understand my lyrics. I know I'm not the best at enunciating when I'm screaming. And again, something that I'm working on it with lessons and everything, and figuring out how to mix my vocals as well, how to align things. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. But I hope you all enjoyed that. That was Sunday Riff Refinery number 30 in the books. If you all have any questions about this or you want to see more, go ahead and hit that down in the comments below. But as always, please make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out. And until next time, peace and love. I will talk to you all in the next one. Peace now.